As much as Adventure Time was kind of like, well, you could get high and watch it, wink, wink. This is saying like, no, get high before you watch this. I'm not playing around.
Let me go ahead and talk to some of you parents out there. Some of you parents out there, you heard that on Netflix, they were making a new cartoon from the guy that did Adventure Time.
Adventure Time, take the dog and then the human, never ends adventure.
Time, I used to watch that with my kids, and I will continue to watch it with my kids. But they're not making any more Adventure Time. But this new cartoon, oh my God, that could take the place of bonding time with my kids right here. So all of you are sitting up here thinking like this new cartoon, oh, this is going to be great. I can get my 7-year-old, pop this up on Netflix, put them down, and just leave the room. Don't you dare do that. Don't you dare do that shit. Don't do it.
I don't know. I think it might be educational for
Yeah, sure. You'll come back and find that little sitting up there drooling, glassy-eyed, brains dripping from his ears. Don't y'all do it. I'm just telling you, you're going to traumatize this little bastard over here because the show that they're talking about is anything but it. Oh, they'll be on an adventure, not the one that they want. The show we're talking about is The Midnight Gospel. This was released on 420. Y'all know what the 420 is. Y'all know. Yeah, okay. This makes perfect sense now.
Perfect sense, yeah.
Yep. Except that, y'all know what 420 is. I don't have to explain it to you. Except that this is the show where even potheads say, F this. This is too much. This is for you hardcore drug users out there.
I'm thinking it's more LSD/acid.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, and mushrooms.
Yep, mushrooms, and no, not even mushrooms. The mushrooms even do that shit to you. This is for all you hardcore hallucinogenics out there, you LSD users. People at home talking about this. I'm smoking legalized pot right now. I ain't trying to do this shit here. This is crazy. I just want to relax, and this is anything but relaxing.
You want to go to your sketchiest drug dealer who might lace it with something.
Yeah. The kind of turn to that dude that just keeps walking around the city and that nobody knows what happened. You know what? You watch this, you're going to be that guy that people tell you that you're that legend at the party. The guy who was at a party. And he put his drink down and left to go to the bathroom. When he came back, he drank it again, didn't know that people put LSD in that shit. And ever since that day, that has just been walking around the city aimlessly. Watching this will be that kind of thing for you right there. Some people in chat talking about this show went from 0 to 100. Yes. Yes, it did. You know what? I could tell you about this, but nah. No, I'm going to do you like this show did me. I want you to go in oblivious and soon freaking the fuck out. This is The Midnight Gospel. Not a kid's show. Very much not a kid's show. But just as wild and crazier than Adventure Time. That's premiering. Actually, no, not premiering, but premiered on Netflix on 420.
Yeah,
let's go ahead. There. Yeah, it's out there, man. Let's go ahead and take a look at the trailer, and we'll be back to give a very, very quick review of this. Got those cat assholes for you, Martin.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They thought about me.
Yeah, that's why I thought this would be right up his alley right here. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's reaction after watching this shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That and holy shit. Okay, you know what? I didn't know what this was going into it. So it took me a while to get adjusted. When I say a while, it took me about 15, 20 minutes to know exactly what was going on here. And what this is described is as, first of all, let me tell you who created this when I'm speaking of Adventure Time. This is created, as you saw, if you were watching this in the trailer, they mentioned their names. The creator of Adventure Time, Pendleton Ward, that's the guy on the right, and Duncan Trussell, comedian. He's the guy on the left right there. These are two guys I never want to be in the same room with. Not with that coming up with crazy shit like this.
Oh, I bet you want to go to one of their parties, though.
I'll never leave that party.
Sure you would. On a stretcher.
Yeah, that party still be going on while I'm in straitjacket at a mental home. But the way that this is described and the way it eventually came across, it's like, okay, these are interviews that they're doing and just putting the crazy animation. This is described as a visual podcast, an animated visual podcast. And this is a podcast where they bring on people to talk about philosophy and religion and drugs and academics, meditation. In actuality, it's more like if you took a shitload of acid at a party and started tripping as you listen to a room full of people babble on about pseudo intellectual bullshit. When I say bullshit, I'm saying that because maybe it's smart, maybe it isn't, but you wouldn't know because while they're sitting up there talking, thinking that, oh man, we're enlightened, you're gonna be up there like, you know, this is crazy.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's pseudo-intellectual. I find the discussions very intellectually stimulating. It's just all those visuals that are super distracting. That's what makes it feel like I went to a party with a lot of smart people and I drank the wrong punch.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to maintain and act like I'm one with them and learn from what they're saying. But everything, all the colors are melting. There's birds and lizards flying in and crawling all over shit. And I'm just sitting there smiling and acting like I don't see any of that.
Yeah.
But I'm sweating the whole time.
Well, that's why I say pseudo-intellectual because I don't know. I mean, people at a party, they're probably drunk and they're just talking out their ass, man. You know, and they're probably making sense. I mean, they're smart enough to, even if they're drunk or high, they're like talking some good shit. But you just had way too much. It was your first time. You took too much of a dose. You didn't know when to quit. And this is where you are right now.
It's Billy at 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, you drank that whole cup of the mushroom tea?
And it's just kind of like, it's not exactly nightmarish, but you can't say that it's completely pleasant either.
No.
It's
it's always some kind of apocalypse.
Yeah, it's everything ends with some sort of death, or there's some sort of torture, or things are being contorted in what looks like painful ways. Or this just things that you look like, I just don't like being around you right now. Not to say it is bad. I like the concept, because I want to know how they're doing this, because it's obvious that there's a genuine conversation going on.
Right.
It sounds like it's unscripted, but sometimes somebody will say something that's part of this whole loose narrative that they got going on. And when I say loose, I mean loose in the loosest of terms.
It is truly stream of consciousness.
Oh, it really is. I'm trying to find a picture of something they got here. There's a part of this where so the concept is that the host, it's a guy named Duncan, and Duncan has a machine, and this machine makes these simulations.
Oh, his name is Clancy.
I'm sorry, you know what? Somebody called him Duncan in one of the episodes, and I think it was by accident. And he said,
that's a fuck up.
It was a fuck up, and they used it in animation. He's like, who's Duncan? So they did what I just did. Clancy is a guy, he has a podcast, and he's like some sort of interdimensional traveler. He has a machine that makes these simulations of different Earths, or different worlds. And he goes to them, and these worlds are fucking insane. There's one that he goes, oh yeah, man. There's one he goes to where it's just a bunch of deer creatures, and they eat baby clowns, and then they get swept up by bigger clowns to be taken to a factory where they're turned into meat. But the meat is actually there. That's right there, where they're taken there. That's one of the deer dogs. And when they get there, the meat is not meant to be for food. It's meant to be like make some bigger meat creature that walks around and is like a combination of different organisms. It's like, oh my God, what the is happening? What's going on here? But you look at it, it's like Martin said, it's like stream of consciousness animating. I don't know how they come up with this. I don't know if they just leave different animators to just go and do their own thing, which I admire if they do. That's
what I wonder. If they recorded the conversations first, then gave it to the animators and said, hey, just make up whatever you want, do what you want, and then came back and said, hey, this is the outline of what we got. If you could have your guys go back and re-record some of these things to fit the story.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can figure.
That's what it seems like, because they're definitely having a real conversation, and then something will come in where they're reacting to something crazy. that would see. But I'm really curious to see how they do this, man. But I do like the stream of consciousness that they have going on. All I can say is if you look the subject matter, if you can just somehow close your eyes, or if you like the visuals, then that's cool too. If you like the conversation, you don't mind the visuals, then great. If you don't like the visuals, you can always close your eyes and probably just listen to what they're saying and pick up pieces. Even I found something interesting in what some people were saying. From the very first episode, they had Dr. Drew Polinsky. Is that his name?
Pinsky.
Pinsky. Yeah, I thought like, okay, I'm looking at this and thinking we're gonna have this crazy plot and these crazy characters, and no, they're having a conversation about drugs that I actually think is actually kind of deep.
It is a very deep conversation. I didn't know what to think at first because I thought, okay, is this one of these Adult Swim things was almost like what was that show, Dr. Katz? I thought, well, maybe they'll have him on to do shtick, but I was working while I had it on, and I'm just listening to the conversation. I'm like, man, I am way into this conversation. That was
actually my favorite one too. Oh, and they had another one.
Same here.
Yeah, but there was another one where I looked the guy up, and the guy it was interesting hearing the guy because he had a guest on. Mm-hmm. It was a guy who was accused of manslaughter, a murder, when he was like 19. And I was like, man, this is a guy named Drew Nichols or something like that. I forgot his name.
Yeah, him talking about how prison was rough, but it is almost the best thing that happened to him.
Yeah, look, it's not for everybody, but let's just say like let's just say you watched Adult Swim. And the crazy shit that you saw, like, damn, I wish there was some substance to this, And I like Adult Swim, but there's some shit I didn't like. If you're the kind of person that tries to listen, if you're that motherfucker, when somebody looks at Adult Swim, something like 12 ounce mouse that they had on a long time ago, and you say, man, this is kind of bad, and somebody says, no, it's just a lot of deep shit you're not getting, then this will be for you. Also, if you watch a bunch of Adult Swim stuff, and it's like even stuff that I like, if you say, well, this is just animated violence and craziness for violence and craziness sake, something like Super Jail. It's like watching that where somebody's actually having a deep conversation. It's something like that, man. If that's the kind of person I can recommend it to. But I did find it. I can't tell everybody to sit down and watch this, but I can't lie, man. I don't want to seem like that pretentious person, but I'm very captivated by this concept. And I do, out of curiosity, I don't even know if I love this yet. I don't love it, but I don't even know how much I like it. But I do want to sit down and watch more. But it's for a very specific person. I'm a person who loves animation, and I love when people do different things and experiment with animation. Because while I'm sitting up here making, like, it might sound like I'm talking low about this, but I'm the kind of person that loves Frank Zappa claymation, man. If you know Frank Zappa, experimental rock artist, he also did a lot with visuals, man. He did a lot with claymation. I will watch those things. You remember Night Flight, Martin?
Yeah, of course.
And they would show like Frank Zappa claymation on there. If you were somebody who could watch that right there, this should not be that crazy for you. So
I mean, that's cool. I could watch that, but I don't know if I could watch 8 30-minute episodes of it.
Yeah. Are you talking about Frank Zappa or what we're talking about right now?
Well, I guess both.
Both.
When it comes down to it. But like with the Frank Zappa thing, like that's cool. Yeah, that come on Night Flight. And I was like, man, that's badass. I want to see more. But someone say, well, great. I have 4 hours of it. I may be like, whoa.
You know what? I'll go ahead and just take acid. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's something like I come across something every now and then where it's really made for a specific audience, and it's hard for me to give a rating to it. You know who you are if you give this 5 or 10 minutes and want to watch more. That's how specific this is. You can look at the trailer and that will tell you that. So I'm not even rating this pretty much. I'm just giving you a review. Just because,
you know that it's out there.
Just letting you know it's out there, and it's something that I watched, and I don't regret watching it. I don't know how many more episodes I can do because I watched 4 episodes. It's 8 episodes, but I do want to go back and watch some more now. Whether I'll maintain through all 8, probably will, but I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. Martin, how you feel about it?
I like you. The first episode was my favorite. I mean, even the animated story of that zombie apocalypse, I found, engaging enough.
Yeah.
It was humorous enough. And I'm also trying to find my footing with the whole thing. And I absolutely love the conversation. I fell in love with the conversation. And with each of these, as they kept going, because I was working at the same time, the more it went on, the more the less I was about the animation. As a matter of fact, sometimes I'd watch it and make my stomach hurt. And I keep thinking like, man, I'm gonna turn this off. I mean, I think I got it. But I would find that whenever I wasn't looking at it and I was like had my head down working and just listening to it, I was really into that. So it's more like I want to keep listening to it. I just don't necessarily want to keep watching it.
Well, that's kind of a recommendation there that even that you can listen to it because it is a podcast, pretty much. So yeah, so there you go, people. I mean, I recommend it, but I can't tell you to who. You have to sit down and see.
Just know what you're getting into.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
I mean, hey man, maybe being high would help. I mean, I'm not even saying it as a joke. It seems like this show is designed for that. Like as much as Adventure Time was kind of like, well, you could get high and watch it, wink, wink. This is saying like, no, get high before you watch this. I'm not playing around.
Yeah, no. Every episode should come with its own joint or something. They released it on 420, so that was definitely the intention.